Alright, imagine that you have a bowl filled with almonds and biscuits. Your goal is to make the weight of the bowl as low as possible with as little moves as you can. If you focus on moving the countless tiny light almonds, ultimately it won't make much of a difference with all those moves and extra effort. Instead, if you identify the biggest and heaviest things, that is the biscuits in this case, you would manage to significantly reduce the weights in just a couple of moves. In this case, the big heavy biscuits that actually move the needle are the 20% of efforts that lead to 80% of the results. This is an example of the Pareto's principle. I'm Aaron, base rated student on self-improvement, and a few months ago I wanted to spend less time on my studies and wanted a more effective and efficient way to go about things. Because back then I used to spend hours every single day, but every time I tried to remove some stuff and spend less time, my results tend to hit, so I never tried with it again. Because I knew that the less time I spend, the less results I'm gonna get. But what I didn't understand back then is that spending less time doesn't necessarily mean that you get worse results. And I really wanted to conquer the studies realm and make it much more efficient and effective, because otherwise I wouldn't have time to do other things that I really want to do, like, escaping the matrix and basically being an entrepreneur. It was like this constant juggle, and I never really had time to do entrepreneurship things on the side. But then I read a great book, you can maybe see it over there, but it's by Tim Ferriss called The 4-Hour Workweek. You've probably heard of it before, right? But that book was so useful when I applied it correctly into my studies thing, and I became a much happier person, my life became much simpler, which I always love. And getting straight A's didn't take as much time that it used to take me. And I could use that time to do other stuff like going to the gym or learning or working my business and stuff like that, which I wanted to do more. It's all about finding the right approach and doing a couple of key things that will really improve your studies and make you much more efficient with it. And that, according to the Pareto's principle, is the 20% of efforts that results to 80%, like the vast majority of the results that you get. And that ratio, 80-20, holds true for a lot of different things in life. I don't remember that many right now, but you can definitely search that up. Now, the 20% of tasks are usually the most uncomfortable tasks to do in the thing, and it's what most people procrastinate from, and it's where the real work that will actually move the needle is done. Now here's how I apply this Pareto's principle to my studies. First of all, to study for tests and assignments and stuff, I only do practice papers, practice worksheets, and practice questions, and basically not have time to do anything else. Doing practice worksheets and questions are the most important part and the 20% of effort that will get you like 80 or 90% of the results in any like assignment or exam. That is the real uncomfortable work that most people procrastinate from. And if you want to be really efficient with it, this is basically the only thing that you fill like your study sessions with. Doing a fuck ton of practice papers and practice worksheets. Now the 80% of stuff, the shit that takes up most of your time but barely moves the needle results wise, it's stuff like highlighting, it's stuff like taking pretty notes with like fucking cute titles and 14 different colors. Like that kind of stuff, it doesn't matter. It's just if you look at it from a broader picture and if you're just looking to make it as efficient as possible, it's a waste of time. And even stuff like study with friends session, like you're in a public cafe with everyone talking around you and you've got fucking sugar loaded lattes and you're sitting with friends and you're studying with them. That can be cute and stuff, but if you're looking to get results and you prioritize that, then you should prioritize doing the practice tests and the real 20% of work first. And then on top of that, yeah, sure, if it's fun and stuff, 100% you can like, I don't know, enjoy a latte and do study with me, friends and stuff. But just know that most of the results that you're gonna get is from the practice sessions and actual work that you do. Now this is from another book, Deep Work by Cal Newport, but it's basically where the best work that you produce happens when you're alone in a room with no distractions like your phone or anything like that. There's no other people either to distract you, and you're completely in a flow state for like an hour, 2 hours, just grinding out the work with you like being fully present with the task at hand. And the best time I've found to do these flow states is directly after you wake up, like do a quick like 5-10 minute morning routine, whatever, but then straight after that you sit down in your room and it's early in the morning, so there's basically no one around to distract you, and you just do a 1-2 hour deep work session, basically uninterrupted work without distractions. I have a whole video on it where I talk about that specifically a lot, so you can check that out after this if you would like, link in the description. And bro, just try out this deep work thing and you'll see how much better and how much more effective and efficient it is, and you'll get much better results for less time spent, because that time is spent in a higher ROI, higher return on investment way. Like, let's say you have some kind of exam tomorrow. Would you rather spend 2 hours on it doing the 20%, doing practice test after practice test and just being done with it, or would you rather spend like 6-7 hours dealing with this bullshit and doing like on a fucking Pomodoro technique or whatever, fucking ineffective tactics like that? It's your choice, but deep work combined with doing the 20% in studies, which is basically practice tests, will get you much better results. Now, there are broadly two more 20% areas that I've found that will get you a lot more bang for your buck than the 80% of tasks. And the first one is to pay attention to feedback and your weak spots. Feedback is really important because then we know what our weak points are and what we can improve. And if your teacher is like that kind of teacher who doesn't give you much feedback, definitely go ask for it. It also shows that like you care about the subject and stuff. But in reality, you're just looking for any feedback to help improve your weak spots and get rid of those constraints. A constraint is basically like a limiting factor or bottleneck. So let's say you're studying for a test and you know all the advanced stuff, but there's one little thing down there, like a basic, that you didn't cover at all. And that's like your weak point. And that's going to be the constraint, because that thing, that's going to limit your entire like knowledge. Because even if you know all those advanced stuff and you add more advanced stuff on top of that, if you don't know like one little thing that is really essential to know, that's like a 20% thing to know, that's going to constrain your whole thing, and it's going to limit your whole thing down to wherever that level is until you fill that up, and until you remove that constraint, and then you can go up to however much you really were at. So for example, let's say you have a test in genetics and biology and you know all the advanced stuff in molecular genetics, which is like one part, but you completely skipped out on the other part of genetics, which is also going to be on the test, which is like patterns of inheritance and Mendelian genetics. You completely skipped out on that, but your knowledge in molecular genetics is so high, it's super advanced, it's fucking better than the biology teacher, but you don't know shit in patterns of inheritance and stuff. You're going to end up getting F on the test, because even though you know so much here, this is going to be a constraint that's going to limit your entire like results that you're going to get down to here, if that makes sense. So until you build like at least the 20% essential stuff of this pillar of the test, your results are going to be constrained down here. And the third final 20% tip that I found is just simply basic student-teacher relationships. It's just like all the stuff that you know you should be doing, but sometimes you just can't be bothered with it, or you forget. And it's stuff like, be respectful for your teachers, like show an interest and a genuine curiosity to the subject. It's a simple thing, but teachers do notice that, and in some countries, like, they say that teachers do not care about your behavior in class or anything like that. They don't consider that when grading. But there is like the psychological factor, which, to be fair, they really can't control that much, but there is like that slight psychological advantage that you get by being respectful in class and just being genuine and showing interest for the subject. And that reminds me to be genuine with it. Don't try too hard to please the teacher and try and desperately show interest for the subject. Simply just have the interest and be genuine with it. Don't be needy towards it. Because if you try too hard in that way, then teachers can definitely notice it, and it's just not a nice way to go about things. Instead, it's just auspicious to be genuine and authentic with it. Subscribe if this helped you. I hate saying that, bro. I sound like such a cringe YouTuber, but whatever. Fuck that. Subscribe if you want. Yeah, all that stuff. Also, do follow me on Instagram, link in the description. It's at Aaron08x. And you'll see the first link in the description. It's to my most used Notion templates. If you don't use Notion, bro, get on it. It's such a good app for productivity and students and even like entrepreneurs, and it's like for managing life. My most used Notion templates are the first thing in the description, and they will really help you become more productive and help you manage like the 20% of tasks in all different subjects, and it will help you even on your self-improvement journey. It's a great way to systemize and be more efficient about everything. Hope this helped, and as always, your potential is only limited by your intention. See you later, bro.